You're listening to G Woman Radio, the 24/7 radio for the gifted, genius, and game-changing woman.
Welcome to the G-Spot, powered by G Woman Radio. The G-Spot is a bold space for genius conversations with global game changers. Each episode of this live radio show brings together thought leaders, innovators, business owners, creators, and change makers for fearless conversations about leadership, legacy, innovation, and global impact. Now welcome your hosts, Alex Okoroji, Frankie Picasso, Swapna Abraham, Clara Rufai, and Mayuri Naidu.
Hello and welcome to the G-Spot. My name is Alex Okoroji, and yes, I'm excited. It's another Friday here on G Woman Radio. And I'm telling you, today feels like one of those truly amazing days that we've been waiting for. And I just want to connect here with my co-hosts and see how they're doing. Frankie, how are you?
Hey, Alex. I'm doing fantastic. This is Frankie Picasso coming to you from the Toronto G Woman Studios, and it is a sunny day. Oh my gosh, what a difference it makes to see the sunshine.
Swapna.
Alex, all of you listening out there, Swapna Abraham from Cochin, Kerala, India, the G Woman studio, and here we've had some freak rains, but no, spirits are high. Just so much the better for being here with you on the G-Spot, a Friday night. Cheers.
Amazing. Clara.
Hey, Alex. Hey, everyone. It's my favorite hour on a Friday, and I'm absolutely delighted to be here again with all of my incredible co-hosts. I'm joining you live from the G Woman studio here in London, and I feel like there's a really focused energy in the air today. It feels kind of purposeful, and I'm truly looking forward to the conversations ahead.
Amazing. First of all, just lovely. Always looking forward to getting together with all of you to do the show. And I know we're missing one of us, right? Mayuri's not here. And, we're sad that she's not here today on today's show. But we know that wherever she is, obviously she's listening in, I'm sure. And, we've got her support as always. So, listeners, welcome to the G-Spot, where genius meets the global game changer. I'm Alex Okoroji, like I mentioned, and I'm joined by my powerhouse co-hosts, the co-founders of G Woman Media. Now, today's theme is wealth with intention, building feminine capital, and financial freedom. Frankie.
You know, Alex, every week we bring bold conversations with women shifting culture, challenging systems, and creating new legacies.
Absolutely, Frankie. Well, today's episode is all about wealth with intention, building feminine capital and financial freedom. And we are thrilled to welcome a game changer who is blazing trails in her field. Over to you, Clara.
But before we continue, and before we even unveil our amazing game-changing guest today, it's that time of the show where we G-Spotlight women who we think are doing amazing work in the world. Women who don't just navigate the world as it is, but they boldly reshape it. Now, the gutsy issue of the G Woman magazine honors trailblazers who chose courage over comfort and impact over approval. Across industries, cultures, and generations, they've challenged norms, they've disrupted expectations, and they've redefined influence in ways that extend far beyond titles or timelines. And speaking of women who redefine what's possible, let's celebrate Vera Wang for her genius in business. She didn't just enter the fashion world, she entered it on her own timeline. Launching her empire at 40, she shattered the myth that success has an expiry date. Vera reminds us that reinvention is power and experience, what some may call age, is actually capital. And next up, I would like to celebrate Rihanna for her brilliance in music and business. Rihanna transformed global fame into global influence, evolving from chart-topping artist to billionaire entrepreneur. She reshaped the beauty industry with unapologetic inclusivity, and she proved that building wealth with intention can shift culture itself. Well, there you have it. If you haven't yet explored our latest top 25 G Woman Power list in the Gutsy issue of our G Woman magazine, after the show, head on over to www.gwomanmag.com and discover the gifted, genius, and game-changing women we're celebrating. Because when women build on their own terms, the impact ripples outward. And that brings us beautifully back to today's conversation. So I'm passing the mic all the way over to Alex in Maryland.
Thank you, Clara. Thank you for that. And I'm always looking forward to your Jill list, right? Because there are all of these amazing, gifted, genius, game-changing women mentioned in it. So we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back to, of course, bring in our special game changer who's already here in the studio, our guest, and we can't wait to introduce her to you. So we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back.
Every era has its turning point. A moment when silence becomes too small for the voices ready to rise. Across continents, across cultures, women are creating, leading, building, and redefining what power looks like. But brilliance needs a platform, courage needs an amplifier, and genius deserves a global stage. Welcome to G Woman Media, a place where women's stories are not an afterthought, they are the centerpiece. Where diversity isn't decoration, it's our DNA. Where leadership isn't asked for, it is claimed. At G Woman Media, expression is power. We amplify women's voices, stories, experiences, and ideas to shape culture and inspire change. At G Woman Media, excellence is our standard. We build high-caliber media platforms, content, and communities that honor the brilliance of women. At G Woman Media, representation is a right. We create spaces where diverse global women are visible, valued, and celebrated. At G Woman Media, leadership is feminine. We promote women's leadership, agency, and influence across industries and continents. At G Woman Media, legacy is built, not given. We empower women to own their platforms, shape their futures, and leave impact-driven legacies. We are the magazine that documents her rise, the radio that carries her voice, the TV that tells her story, and the community that holds her journey. For the global woman, gifted, genius, game changer. This is your space, G-Woman, your mirror, your megaphone, your movement. The world is listening. Now it's your turn to speak.
Yes, now it's your turn to speak. Welcome back, everyone, wherever you're listening from around the world. This is the G Spot, and yes, we're coming to you live on G Women Radio. And yes, we're excited to, bring on our very special guest. So let's get into it. Now, our special guest is Karen Lee. She is a speaker, author, and certified financial planner with more than 30 years of experience as a financial expert. Now, Karen was a frequent guest expert for the CNN Newsroom, and her articles have appeared in both industry and consumer publications, including Forbes, CNBC, MSNBC, Huffington Post, Parenting Magazine, and Ladies' Home Journal. Now, Karen has worked in the financial services industry since 1987. During this time, she has worked with hundreds of families, individuals, and small businesses in helping them to pursue their financial dreams. Now, her boutique financial planning practice, Karen Lee and Associates, is a proud member of Integrated Financial Group, a consortium of independent financial advisors. Now, she is a member of the Financial Planning Association and the National Estate Planning Council. She also served as the financial spokesperson for the Wise Women Speak Foundation, a nonprofit organization promoting building wealth for women, girls, and families. Now, she is the author of the book, It's Just Money, So Why Does It Cause So Many Problems? And through her work with the Drake House, she mentors other women who are financial advisors. And she does a whole lot more that we will share right here. We're so excited to have you on the show with us, Karen. Welcome to the G Spot.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited for our chat today.
We're really excited to have you here, Karen. This is Frankie. Karen, we all have an origin story, and I know that you have a story of your pivot from architecture to certified financial planner. But what
Right.
was the spark that started that journey?
So I don't know why I was born this way, but I always have had a low tolerance for misery. So, meaning when I'm not happy about something in my life, I don't sit with it for too long. I immediately start looking for changes and direction. But when you're young and you're, I don't know, everybody's got a different childhood story, but in my particular family, and I can tell you more about that background if you'd like, because it's pretty interesting. But my parents were very focused on education. I grew up in one of those families where it was not a question of if you would go on to college, right? You were going to college and you were going to study a profession so that you came out with a degree that could get you a job. So I'm the youngest of three, and I had a brother already in med school and a sister in engineering. And here I was, 17, 16, trying to figure out what I'm going to go to college for. And I was really, really good at math and science, but I couldn't stand blood, so I wasn't going to be a doctor. I thought being an engineer and accountant sounded really boring. And interestingly, I loved acting and I loved creative writing. But of course, those were not things that my parents were going to support me going to college for. So one day I had, read a publication that came to me from some college, and it talked about architecture, and it said it was the blend of the science and the creative. And I thought, well, maybe I'll do that. So I go off, I got accepted, which was sort of interesting because I had never taken any mechanical drawing. I think I submitted for my, portfolio a creative writing essay just to show I was creative. And then, but I got accepted. I had great, high school scores and things like that. And so I went to Tulane School of Architecture, came out with a 5-year degree, but I have to tell you, I think I knew in the very first year I wasn't going to be great. I'd be good, but not great. And I was good in the math and the science part of it, and good enough that I was like fifth in my college class. But I could tell that some of the kids were really gifted creatively in the visual arts, and I didn't have that. But I didn't know what else to do, so I just finished the degree. And it was 5 years, and then I, just like my parents suggested, was able to get a job right out of college, and pretty much was bored right at the beginning. And then my boyfriend from college and I, who had broken up, decided to get back together. I made a move. I made a move to Chicago, where he was living against everyone's will, and nobody was happy about that except me and my boyfriend. And I got another job as an architect. And that's where I saw the writing on the wall, ladies. I saw women that were a bit older than me at that point, having children and coming back to the firm and saying, I'd like to go part-time. And each and every one of them was told no. Now, maybe that would be different now because this was in the mid-'80s.
Sure.
But they were told no. And they each and every one did what every mother's going to do. They stayed home and raised their children. And in many cases, never worked again. And I remember looking at my boyfriend, husband now, and saying, this isn't going to work for me. I know me. I like working. I said, I am going to need to find something where I can have some flexibility down the road. And I'm miserable. I was literally dreading going to work every day. And I thought, I'll look for something else. I spent 9 months. I was in Chicago in that second architecture job. I spent 9 months researching careers. I used a career counselor who basically took my money, suggested I go into PR or communications or marketing. I don't know why. And then quickly dropped out of my life. But I did go on these informational interviews in those areas. And
Karen, I'm going to stop you there because I
Yeah.
think Swapna is going to ask you something.
Sure. Go ahead.
Thank you,
Over to
Frankie.
you.
Gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
You seem to have already answered what I'm going to ask, which is,
Okay.
Karen, which is how do you overcome a personalized barrier? But you know what? which was the huge barrier you had to overcome, the situation with your parents and their traditional expectation? Was it the
Yes.
whole moving to a new city, getting architecture, moving from
Oh,
that, the creative, science, math, whatever
I think it was
conundrum,
the parents.
balance?
I think,
Seriously?
yeah, I think I come from a pretty ethnic background, and
Hmm.
becoming a professional was so important to my parents.
Yes.
So I think I felt like I would be letting them down. And same thing when I moved, to Chicago unmarried to live with my boyfriend. My dad said to me, you've probably heard this phrase, why buy the milk when the cow is free? Why buy the cow when the milk is free? Ever heard that one?
Hmm.
Yes.
Uh, so I'm
The barn door is open.
yeah. But I would say that was the big barrier for me. Um, and just that risk, taking a
Hmm.
risk, leaving behind something that was tried and true. I knew I could get a job as an architect and jumping into something completely different. All these people I interviewed with said that to go into marketing PR, I would have had to go back to college and change the degree. And I thought, no way am I doing that. But I got him. Do you believe in the messages from the universe?
Hmm.
I
Absolutely.
I got 5 messages from the universe with those informational interviews. Each and every one of those people said to me, well, you'd have to go back to college to do this, but it seems after meeting you, you should go into sales. Now, let
Ooh.
me tell you, ladies, my father was a nuclear engineer. My mother had her master's degree in education. She was a high school economics teacher. The kids in my family did not go into sales.
Hmm.
But I believe in
Mm.
messages from the universe, and 5 strangers said the same thing to me. And I said, I guess I'm supposed to go into sales, right?
But how
Um,
interesting that you didn't think you had to go back to college and study sales to start selling. You see what I mean?
They they did not tell me that back then. They didn't say that was necessary. So
Right.
this is how old I am. We didn't have the internet yet. So I was going through
Mm.
the yellow pages looking at ads under
Mm.
sales. So initially I thought, well, I'll sell architectural products. I looked at Pella windows, Anderson windows, floor covering. And all those people wanted to hire me because of course I was, this cute little girl with a bubbly personality. And I thought, I don't feel like I'd really be making a difference in this world selling
Mm.
architectural products. I want to do something where I really help people. And
Ca-
I found an
ca-
ad.
oh, oh,
Financial service representative, dynamic self starter, something to that effect. Unlimited financial potential. But it had been 9 months. I was ready to apply for anything. So I
right.
applied. And they interviewed me and I said, why in the world would you be interested in someone that has no sales background? And they said, it's a perseverance business. And you made it through architecture school. They said, we think you've got that perseverance, which was
Wow.
lovely. Yeah.
Lovely, Karen. I mean, I know you would want to listen to what Clara is going to ask you now because this is
Sure.
going to really make a lot of sense. Clara, over to you.
Okay.
Indeed. My question is really going to make a lot of sense. But Karen, I can tell you, I mean, it's interesting listening to your story. It's quite inspiring, really. And I
Oh,
want
thank
to
you.
ask,
Yeah.
after more than 3 decades, right, in
Yeah.
financial planning, I
Yeah.
mean, I can imagine you've probably seen it all, heard it all, done it all.
Yes,
What's
ma'am.
one persistent myth about women and about wealth that you'd love to bust open right here on the G Spot show today?
Oh gosh, there's so many. I'll start with the myth that the men handle the money, and tell you that in my experience with couples, the woman typically is the one leading the show about where the money goes, how the money's spent, how much to save. The men tend to have more tunnel vision around just doing their jobs, and the women are the ones. They're also, I don't know if this is a myth or not, but women are so more accepting of getting advice whereas men say, I can do this myself. And so that's a myth that women aren't the ones that handle the money. I would say I actually think they handle the majority of the money. I thought you were going to ask me about, after 30 years of being a financial advisor, how come the percentage of women that are financial advisors has been virtually unchanged.
You can quickly talk to us about that one.
Okay. There was 13% of financial advisors were female when I started in 1987, and it's around 17% now, and it's been 38 years. And Clara, we're so much better at it than the men. The men have to be taught to listen with a nurturing heart, to speak to both people in a couple, the men and the women, not just one, the one who seems more right. Women, there's this term you've probably heard called being a fiduciary, where you put, it means you put your client's interest before your own.
Indeed.
Women do this naturally.
Yeah.
We are always thinking about everyone else's well-being, aren't we? We're nurturers. We're nurturers. So we are so good at this industry, yet we don't bring more women into it. And I wonder if there's some, so this might be a myth you all should help me break, which is that women aren't as willing to take a risk. And it was a risk for me to leave a field that I had a degree in and go into a straight commission industry, which is what it was back then, where there were no women doing it. And just go, okay, I'm going to give this a try for 1 year.
Wow.
So yeah, I want more women coming into the field, and I love mentoring the women that are coming into the field. And the earlier the better. Get in and start before you start your family. Yeah, the business has been, go ahead.
That's amazing. And thank you for your mentoring, because that will get more women where we need them to be.
Yeah.
Wow.
The business allows for a tremendous amount of flexibility after you've paid your dues, which is general for most industries. One of the challenges is that many people, and this is true about all business owners, by the way, they don't take advantage of that potential for work-life balance. They work themselves to death. They become slaves to their industry. And the beauty of being self-employed and having your own company is that doesn't have to happen. I mean, sure, at the beginning, you have to give it everything. But then you have to take time and be balanced. It's another thing about business owners is that the biggest financial mistake most business owners make, they put all their profits back into the business.
Wow.
And you have.
I think I'll pass over to Frankie now, because I know Frankie had lots of questions too.
Okay.
I do. Thank you so much, Clara. Karen, we come from the same generation. So I'm going to answer your question, what I think might be the answer to your question. For the first part of it, though, is I've always wanted to have a job that I didn't have to have a ceiling to. So I loved working on commission. I thought I loved it. But the other part was that I had a math teacher who told me I was stupid and I couldn't do it. And I think a lot of girls have math teachers who tell them that they're stupid and they can't do it. So the farthest thing from my mind would be to go into something where I had to handle money for other people.
Interesting.
And the first time I understood that I was okay with money is I could figure out what 25% off was at a sale. Right? I knew what that was.
Yeah.
And so finally in my 20s, somebody showed me some math and I go, wait a minute, that wasn't hard. They just showed it to me the right way. So my question, though, is, because I'm asking this one for our dear friend Mayuri, what advice would you give to the next generation of women leaders?
take risk, step into the uncomfortable. I mean, you can always fail at it and then pick yourself back up and do something different. But if you never try, you live your whole life wondering what if.
That's
I
right.
agree with that.
Yeah. And then invest in yourself. If your parents aren't able to help you get that degree or certification, do it yourself. If you do go into your own business, once you've sowed some seeds, invest back in your business, but invest in yourself. That's the biggest mistake people make is they don't save first. It's also said, pay yourself first before you pay others. But I don't
Yes.
make enough. But I don't make enough. Believe it or not, you do. Everybody makes enough to put 10% of it away before they start paying the bills.
I have to agree
And
with that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that what you were talking about? The profits thing, that you shouldn't
Yes.
reinvest all your profits into the business? Yeah.
That's what I was saying. The biggest mistake I find small business owners have is they put everything. They have no liquidity. They have nothing to fall back on. They're waiting to build a business that they'll one day sell, and that's the retirement plan. And only one out of every four small businesses even succeeds. So that's a big mistake to make. You've got to pay yourself first. You've got to save. You've got to be planning for the future all along the way.
Lovely.
Thank you
Wise
for that.
words.
Over to you, Alex.
Thank you. Thank you, Frankie. And thank you, Karen. You've been sharing so much just really, truly important information that, women listening right now should learn, right, about finance and all. And there were a couple of things that you mentioned that I think struck for me. You talked about the myth, I believe, when Clara had asked, and you said, there's the myth out there that women are not the ones that handle money. And I think that this
Right.
is something that we've understood even within G-Women Media while we're building a collective, that we understand that
Okay.
women actually make the buying decisions, right, in their homes. They're the ones who really decide what drives, the home and the community. And so we really agree with you on that. And then
Right.
you talked about women not willing to take risks, right? And, we also agree with that. And even just how we've created the company that we're building right now with G-Women Media, where we've invited, Ivy League partners and investors to be part of what we're creating and building this future for women, is because we understand that women need to step into that role of sort of, taking risks and building together. And we love and appreciate the work that you do, mentoring other women to come into your industry as financial experts. So my question for you is, we typically ask our guests on the show, what's your G-spot moment? And the reason we ask this, and I'm going to say this because there are two things you had mentioned earlier where you talked about you not having tolerance for misery, I believe. And this is how you moved from, what you studied in architecture and moving into becoming this really renowned financial expert that you are now. And you had said that you had identified that you would be good, but not great, correct? And
Yes.
so I ask, now that you've been in this industry for over 3 decades, what's your G-spot moment? And when we ask the G-spot moment, we're asking, what is that game-changing moment? That moment in time when as you began your career in, as a financial expert and, became a certified financial planner and just dealing with clients and talking to families, helping women and, of course, just dealing with clients and helping people really truly build a future that they desire around their
Right.
finances. When did you know? When did it suddenly click for you that this is it forever and ever and ever? Like, this is where you belong and you were
You're gonna
actually
be
built for
shocked.
this.
You're going to be shocked when I tell you. I knew on the very first client, and her name was Marla. I miss her dearly. She passed away too young. I had adopted a kitten. And because I'm a dog person, but I lived in Chicago, you couldn't have a dog. So we adopted a kitty cat. And I went to take her to the veterinarian. And this beautiful woman veterinarian walked in, and her name was Marla. And they had told me, in this business, you will need to tell every single person that you meet with every day what you do. That's how you're going to get clients. So at the end of my kitten's little wellness check, I said, by the way, I have recently changed careers and I am now a financial advisor, and I am wondering if you and I might meet for coffee. But I was already drawn to her. You know what I mean? That I felt that wonderful energy women sometimes feel when they connect. And she said, "Oh my gosh, I was just thinking this morning that I needed to get my act together around money." And so we met. I was 25 and she was 28. And at the end of just the initial meeting, she had tears in her eyes and she said, "Thank you. Just talking to you about my financial situation makes me feel like I'm going to move in the right direction." And that was, I knew it. I knew that moment. I helped someone. What I do is going to make a difference. And I was hooked. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And so we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be back. Don't go anywhere, everyone.
A moment when
Genius
silence
and
becomes-
game-changing woman looking for your tribe? This is your moment. Introducing the G-Woman Collective, a powerful new global hub where women who lead, build, create, and innovate come together to rise. Founded on the premise that women's collective voices hold boundless power. At the heart of our mission lies a powerful purpose: to ignite global visibility and momentum for women everywhere. Whether in boardrooms or broadcasting, the mission is simple: make women seen, heard, and unstoppable. Join thousands of women across continents in a vibrant digital epicenter that's redefining community, collaboration, and visibility. From private forums and global networking to live sessions, masterminds, mentorships, and exclusive media features, including access to our sub-collectives. This is not your average membership. This is your seat at the table. Become a G-Woman ally, G-Woman champion, or G-Woman vanguard, and step into a space designed to amplify your voice, fuel your mission, and elevate your legacy. Sign up now at gwomancollective.com and let's rise together. G-Woman Collective, where gifted, genius, and game-changing women belong.
Okay, we're back. Yes, if you're wherever you're listening from around the world, this is the G Spot, and yes, we're coming to you live on G Woman Radio. And just before we went on that, quick commercial break, and had a little bit of, a little slight problem there. We were talking to our very special guest, Karen Lee, who's joining us all the way from Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia, here in the United States. And we've been talking about money, obviously, right? We've been talking about wealth and money and finance and women and just our contributions to that. And it's time for our G Talk Roundtable. And I'm going to hand over the mic to Frankie. Take it away.
Thank you, Alex. Karen, you've been fantastic so far, and I know you've got a whole lot more gems to leave us with. So I know that you say that each one of us has a relationship with money that might be healthy or it could be downright dysfunctional. You also talk about our relationship with money and how it dramatically affects our potential for financial success and peace of mind. And my question is a two-part question, but as we get into this roundtable talk where everybody's invited to participate. Is there an age, do you think, by which this relationship starts? And
go ahead.
Well, I'll finish it and then we'll go back if you need me to.
Okay.
And have you developed a quiz or a test for couples to manage this huge issue before marriage so they don't get divorced before they even start?
So I don't know the age, but I think it's pretty young. I think it grows very slowly. And in other words, just like memories, you have your first fleeting memories, maybe by 4 or 5 years old. Somewhere around there, you're also noticing that your parents maybe never talk about money. You might be noticing that they're fighting about money. You might be noticing that only one parent controls the money. You might be comparing, I'm guessing now you're a little bit older, you're comparing, at least in the United States, you're comparing where you live compared to then where your friend that you spent the night at lives and what kind of car their parent drives and what kind of car you drive. And you know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
there's something happening from a pretty young age where you're starting to get messages. And in my case, it was very clear. My father was an immigrant to the U.S. And so he came from Cuba and literally lived in abject poverty. My mother also was from New York, but her father had died when she was 7. So there she is, my mom, her mother raising her in the 1930s without a dad working, and her mom had to go back to work. So my parents raised us with this feeling of money's tight, there'll never be enough, shop on sale, live beneath your means. And so I grew up thinking we were poor. And it shaped a lot of how I dealt with money and felt about money. Some parts of that were really good, and some parts were not so good.
Right. Yeah.
And I think it took me almost 15 years as a financial advisor to figure this part out. I thought, why do some people that come to me for financial advice, the formula is more or less the same. The numbers are different based on what people learn.
Sure.
And right. So how come some people get it, follow my direction, slowly over time are becoming financially successful, and these other ones, they're taking what they want and leaving the rest. And when the financial crisis happened in '08, those people were caught with their pants down.
Sure.
And I felt terribly burdened by why hadn't they followed my advice. And that's what got me thinking, what is it? Why do some people follow it, some people don't? And what is it about? I always turn inward, right? What is it about me that's made me such a good saver? I'm almost embarrassed to tell you that I had a goal of saving $1 million by the time I was 40,
Wow.
and I hit it at 37.
Oh my
Okay,
gosh.
and
See,
I
my
mean,
daughter's a great saver. And I
yeah.
struggle at it.
Okay,
I don't know
well,
where she gets it from. I think she gets it from my
right.
mother.
Well, I looked at myself and I said, well, it's very easy to understand the way I was raised. My mother used to, I say this in the book I wrote, my mother used to line us up at the Piggly Wiggly in Tennessee when chickens were on sale, but limited to only 2 per person. And each of
so
us
you
would
tried
have
to
our
make
two chickens. Now I'm horrified. I'm like trying to become small and tiny so people won't notice that, and she's taking us to the Kmart. I don't know if you guys have those stores, but
Yeah. But even,
you-
Karen, even like our parents came out of the 30s, came out of the wartime, right?
yes, they
And
did.
even my dad, when he made his money, and he had a lot of
Yes.
money, and I said, "Can I get a pair of jeans?" And he goes, "Do you have a pair?" I go, "Yes." He
Ah,
goes, "That's okay then. You have
and
something to wear."
see, Frankie, I assumed it's because my dad's an immigrant, but you're right. The
My dad's an immigrant
depression.
too.
Oh, okay, there you have it. But
Yeah.
there's that, but also it's called Depression era
Yeah.
thinking. And quite frankly, these generations now could use a little bit more of that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Because now
Yeah.
we're spenders. We want to spend every last dime, and the next one we're going to earn before we've earned it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, our parents didn't live on credit, so
No, they
that's
didn't. And do
and
you
that was a huge thing.
know?
But couples they do really fight about money, and
They
people come
really
into
do.
relationships having
Right.
a very different mindset for it. And like I'm on my second marriage, and
Okay.
my husband and I, like, he was looking for a woman who had assets. He didn't want somebody who was coming in with nothing or owed lots of money, and I understand that because I didn't want that either.
Right, right.
Right. And so
Yeah.
we figured out what worked for us financially as far as, how do you put money? We both put equal money in that, looks after the house, but we each have our own money too. That way I don't get upset if he buys a, very expensive guitar, and he doesn't get upset if I just spend money that I want to spend.
Yeah. And that's very, I find that very common with second marriages. My husband and I are like the old traditional. We got married when we were only 26. Neither of us was earning hardly anything.
Yeah.
And he was always upset doing the bills, like it upset him. And I was like, oh, come on, it's just math. I'll do it. And so I started doing them. But we split everything 50-50. But once we got married, we just opened up one account, right?
Yeah.
So I never had the his, hers, and ours. Mine has always been ours.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I'm curious to see what these younger ones, in our group here, how they manage their finances. But
yeah.
it's it is an interesting.
But you asked the
concept of money.
question if I had developed a quiz, and I haven't. I haven't. I like the idea, but I think what it really is, and when I was writing my book, which is probably now 12, 15 years ago, I was much more dialed into, working on how can I get this message out to more people than just the clients that come through my firm. And what I had was more of a guided discussion conversation. So it wasn't a quiz. It was like two people should have a glass of wine if they drink, or sit down together in a quiet atmosphere and talk about these things. And the first one was, tell me what it was like for you growing up in your home around money. Just tell me about it. What was it like? And some might say, I don't even remember anything about money. But most people they've got a story. Oh, my dad was in charge, or my mom used to complain, or whatever it was, right? So that's the first thing, is let's just talk about what it was like.
Or how your parents thought about people with money. What did they say? What was the language used about the rich people?
If they
sometimes that
weren't
stops
one
you
of,
too.
if they weren't one of them. And
Yes.
I think about a childhood friend of mine who I always thought her family must be rolling in it because they drove Mercedes and we drove used Oldsmobiles that my father bought at government auctions, they lived in the nicer neighborhood, and she and I met when we were 9, and we're still friends. And
that's great.
all our parents are gone though, but her parents literally died penniless.
Wow.
And my parents died multimillionaires.
Okay.
And
I get that.
It was profound though for me to see that what you see isn't always what's under the hood, is
This is
it?
true. My
Yes.
mother had her master's of economics.
Yeah, cool.
And she died. She was buying Jell-O, and I'm like, why are you just eating Jell-O? Why are you eating this, little cups of yogurt? And she goes, well, what if I run out of money and I starve? I go, you have children. You think we wouldn't feed you? Like, come on. But that's how she thought.
Yeah.
But she died with lots of money. Again, like your
Interesting,
parents.
right?
Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
spent a lifetime since I've been a financial advisor and saved so much. I've spent the second half of my lifetime trying to loosen up. I don't want to be like my parents, where if I want to fly first class, I can afford it. If I want to drive a new car instead of used. But I have to be honest, I only bought my first brand new car 5 years ago. I always bought used. It was the way I was
Me
raised.
too, actually. Me too.
Well,
But,
see,
I
we
boasted
have a
about my
very
husband, which
common
is nice.
background. Yeah.
Okay, ladies. I mean, we're really enjoying this, but we've got to take a quick commercial
sorry.
break.
Okay.
We'll take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back for our G Spotlight segment.
Thank you. Are you looking for a unique gift for baby showers, bedtime songs, fun time songs, and songs that teach lessons? Family road trip songs the whole family will enjoy. Songs that will trigger young imaginations, nurture and educate your children, but adults will enjoy too? Then choose a Children's Song a Day book. This extraordinary book experience contains 1,000 songs in 5 volumes that will delight children age 4 through 12, along with eye-popping illustrations and lyrics. Each song can be downloaded via a QR code on each page in 2 versions, one with full song, the other for a karaoke experience. Lyrics, melody, and singing are the creation and talent by Dr. Swapna Abraham, who embarked on a 1,000-day journey setting 4 world records in singing songwriting by the Golden Book of World Records. Each song is crafted for children to inspire dreams and explore life's wonders. They're available now on any Amazon near you. So get yours now and start singing.
Okay, we're back. And yes, wherever you're listening from around the world, don't forget that this is still the G Spot. And we've got our very special Genius Game Changer with us here in the studio, Karen Lee, who's been throwing it down with some truly empowering reminders, gems, as we call it here on the show, and so much to take away from our conversation. Now, don't forget that you can be part of this conversation too. In the chat, in our listeners chat, you can leave your comments if you've got a question for our guest, or just whatever it is that you'd like to contribute, or if you'd like to join us here in the studio to ask your questions, do let us know. You can do that. There's something there to show you how to be part of this. So we're going to head on quickly to our G-Spot segment, and I'll pass the mic over to Swapna.
Thank you, Alex. Karen, I was wondering whether I should ask you about memorable experience, but after listening to what you spoke about Marla, I think I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Because I see so many talented, brilliant people poor, so to say, and I see so many disciplined people also poor. But of course, it is also the talented people that are rich and the disciplined people that are rich in terms of savings. So is it a skill? It's just about money. So what? It's no generic solution, I know that for sure. But what would be a bold insight that you could just share with us, your audience, about this whole feminine capital and financial freedom? What is it? What is it? What is that magic that makes it happen? Is it discipline? Is it talent? What is it that is the trick?
To wealth, it's...
Yes.
Okay, I've got it. It's patience.
Wow.
It's patience, and it starts with discipline, and I'll relate it to fitness, diet, and exercise. You know how when you decide, I really need to lose this 5 or 10 pounds, and so you get ready, and you get all the right food, and then after the first week, you haven't lost any weight, and you go, this is ridiculous. I didn't eat any dessert, haven't had any chips, and you're upset. And so you give up too quickly. So with money, I tell people, and have you ever gone and seen a space shuttle take off live or watched it on TV?
No, watched it on TV, yeah.
Okay, so when you watch it, you know how at the beginning it's so slow?
Yes.
You just see all that fuel burning, but the rocket's not moving.
Yeah.
And then it slowly starts to speed up, but it still doesn't look like it's going that fast. Then there's a point where it takes off, right?
Wow.
Money, and growing money takes the discipline to start putting a little bit aside every single paycheck, and then being patient for the rocket ship to take off, because the rocket ship is going to take, I'm sorry to say it, 15 years or more. You see, money will quadruple in value about every 15 years. But the next 15, it quadruples again. Okay, so 2 times 2 is 4 in that first 15 years, right? But 4 times 4 is 16. So that is an exponential growth rate, right? Not geometric, which would be a straight line. It's a bell curve, right? Could you picture that? And so it's like that rocket ship. People don't give it the time to take off. Because 15 years is a long time to wait in our I want what I want right now society.
Yeah, thank you for that. Really appreciate it, Karen. Really appreciate it. Over to you, Clara.
Well, coming right back to you, our listeners, you heard Alex say it. Would love to hear from you. Perhaps you want to tell us what your money story is from when you were growing up, or what does wealth with intention look like for you right now in your life? Drop your thoughts in the chat, because your voice absolutely matters in this conversation. I'm going to pass it back over to Alex.
Thank you, Clara. Thank you for that. So I know we don't have time left. We've got only 10 minutes before we wrap this up, and this always happens, right?
I
You know,
bet.
time runs so fast when you're having fun. I'm just going to quickly read two messages, in the chat. There's a message here saying, enjoying the conversation. I've always found financial talks boring, but you all make the conversation relatable. Okay. And there's another message that says, I thought I was going to hear lots of financial jargon, and we'll have to ask her to explain more. So yes, like Clara already mentioned, share whatever your thoughts are. And of course, we'll try to get it on. So we'll take just a quick musical break, and then we'll come back for our drop mic moment. Don't go anywhere.
Lying here next to you, sharing your bed, listening to every breath, every little word unsaid. I can't wait till you get up tomorrow. Then I'll have another chance to plead, to beg, to borrow some time. Maybe just one afternoon, some time, only an hour or two, 'cause we're all living on a borrowed dime. The one thing we can't buy is more time. More time. Watching as you pull away, pull from me. I know the parable, gotta set you free. But I can't wait till I see you tomorrow, 'cause then I'll have another chance to plead, to beg, to borrow some time. Maybe just one afternoon, some time, only an hour or two, 'cause we're all living on a borrowed dime. The one thing we can't buy is more time. More time.
Okay, that was a borrowed dime from Danielle Taylor. We love her here. Now, don't forget, this is still the G Spot on G Women Radio. And yes, we're coming to you live on www.gwomenradio.com. And we've been talking to our very special Genius Game Changer, Karen Lee, who's been sharing so much wealth of wisdom. And of course, I know, time runs by when we're having so much fun. Over to you, Frankie. I know we don't have so much time left, and I know that Mayuri did want to ask a question about Drake
Okay,
House.
I'll ask it real quick.
Okay.
Please.
Karen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You've been on the board of Drake House for 10 years, helping to empower women and children experiencing homelessness, which I think is beautiful. How do you help them achieve economic independence and long-term stability?
It's not the easiest path, but what we do is they have on staff. First of all, these women are in a program. It's mandatory, and every Monday night, if you're going to get your 90 days of free housing, free food, free laundry, that the Drake House will sponsor you, you have to commit to no drugs and alcohol, going every Monday. And at the Monday morning sessions, they cover a variety of topics. One of those areas is a financial peace university, which is the Dave Ramsey program, which is just all about getting out of debt. So that is helpful. In addition, we have on staff a career coach, and we're actually able to help women elevate their income, upwards of 75%. Now, it's still not necessarily enough because they're coming in as hourly workers, but we're able to help them negotiate the marketplace and find better pay.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're
Alex, did
welcome.
you want to get to our mic drop?
Yes, so we're just gonna quickly take our drop mic moment, and I know we don't have much time left, so over to you, Frankie. What is your drop
Well,
mic
I was
moment?
really happy to hear the secret of money. People don't give money the time to take off. 15 years is a long time.
Okay, Swapna.
I had two, but I'm going to go with the second, that the trick is patience and then discipline.
And you, Clara?
I was really happy to hear Karen remind us about who really controls the money decisions. Because if men truly controlled all the money conversations, we wouldn't still be calling it a myth. Influence has been shared a long time ago. It just hasn't always been named.
Amazing. This is always difficult because you all already said what I wanted to say. My drop mic moment was, but I think for me it was when she said no tolerance for misery, and I mean that definitely
That was my first
That's
one,
a good
Alex.
one.
Brilliant.
yeah, that was brilliant. That stuck out for me. She said no tolerance for misery, and yes, and she's obviously shown us how she's built this wonderful trajectory for herself, identifying where her own strengths were going to go, and where she never, she just didn't want to stay doing something that she wasn't really enjoying. So, Karen, and I know that we probably have to invite you again, maybe this time on
Please
Gentleman
invite me
TV. We need to invite you again because I know there's so much we still need to talk about. But just before we wrap this up, any final words for our listeners?
Yes. I was thinking about the person that said that in the chat, that they thought they'd hear financial jargon, and I didn't go with any of that because, of course, I love to talk the psychology of money a bit more than that. But here's a tip for you all. People think that the stock market, some people think that the stock market is a gamble. And I'm here to tell you that at least in the U.S., the stock market is up 74% of the time.
Wow.
And when it's up bigger than the downs. So if you could go to Vegas and have a 74% chance of winning, I don't think you'd call it gambling. Right?
That's true.
So that's why the patience and the discipline. And one thing we tell people, it's time, not timing.
Wow.
Get in, stay in, grow that wealth. My mom told me a long time ago, money makes money if you give it time.
It sure
Right?
Love that. Love that.
Thank
Thank you so much, Karen. That was beautiful.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Well, we're going to say thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our listeners for listening to today's show with our very special guest, Karen Lee. Now, don't forget to follow us online at G-Woman Media and tag us in your thoughts with hashtag #GSpotShow. And of course, don't forget that you can also catch the replay here, of today's conversation on GWomanRadio.com or wherever else you get your podcasts, Apple, Stitcher, anywhere else you listen to your podcast. So, this has been truly amazing, and we're so thankful that you shared so much of your expertise, your experience, your wisdom, your influence here on today's show. So until next time, ladies, stay genius, stay
game changing.
stay game changing, ladies.
You're tuned into G Woman Radio for the global woman, gifted, genius, game changer,